Guys, has anything happened?
Oh man, the best pizza place in the world happened. Well, not the best pizza place in the world, but pretty fucking good pizza happened yesterday. There's this place in Torrance called Blaze Pizza, and it's Chipotle for pizza. So what they do is it's an 11-inch pizza that you pay $7.95 for, and you add whatever toppings they want you to, like whatever you want on there. And it's bloody fantastic. It's great. I love it so much. So
I was
that's
more referring to games, Lawrence, but I am enticed by your pizza story.
the pizza is way more important than anything.
He is waiting all
Really.
week to talk
Video
about that.
game video games are boring, and no one wants to talk about them. Let's talk about video games.
The show, which has tons of news. Let's give a happy birthday to Nathan Mayer
Hey!
Happy birthday.
on the show.
It's
Not
not
me.
really my birthday anymore. It's midnight where I'm at.
Good to have you tonight, man. All right, let's get into the big news for this week. Xbox. They said they'd never get rid of the Kinect. They got rid of the Kinect.
The 180 is
No.
complete.
No, they didn't. They
Yeah.
promised.
2 days prior to the release of the NPD's group sales numbers for North America, Microsoft announced plans to release an Xbox One SKU without the Kinect. The SKU is immediately available for pre-order and will release on June 9th for $399, the day of their E3 press conference. So yeah, we talked about numerous times on the show and never considered it would happen so soon, but here we are, and yep, we're getting rid of it.
A little bit out of the blue.
I mean, as recently as February, they were saying that they would never release a Kinect-less Xbox One. That was as recently as February. Well, okay.
What did you think gut reaction when you heard this news?
I wasn't surprised because the execs at Microsoft who pushed Kinect, who Kinect was their baby, they're gone now. That was a Matrick baby and a Ballmer baby, and Ballmer's gone, Matrick's gone, and as soon as they're gone, you knew that Kinect's days were numbered. I mean, sure, they'll keep saying it's important to the Xbox, but you know, if you look at the Xbox 360 and how much the UI has changed since the old dash with the blades, I could foresee maybe in 3 or 4 years Kinect not even being a factor at all.
Yeah,
Well, it
that's
is
I guess
already.
that's the next
For
thing
me,
to speculate on.
The Kinect was holding me back from buying an Xbox One. I mean, it seemed like an unnecessary amount of money, of additional money, to a product that seemed pretty good.
And here's the thing: the Kinect-less Xbox One comes out June 9th, the day of their big E3 media briefing. They're going to need to do a pretty big UI patch that day because the UI as it is right now, it needs Kinect. I mean, it is horrible without Kinect. I mean, it's designed to be navigated with voice and with Kinect, so
Yeah,
they're going to need to tweak that a little bit.
so much of the functionality that I think people are excited about with the Xbox One needs the Kinect to actually run. So if they're to take it out and that's to become the standard, then they're going to have to make a UI that makes getting to certain things a lot easier. Because there's a lot of things, I don't know, Jeremy, if you feel the same way, but there's some things that I don't even know how to get to unless I use the camera.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff like just the settings. It's kind of like buried in your apps and games. You have to go into apps and games, then go to apps, and then scroll all the way over, just find settings, where it's easier just to say Xbox, go to settings, and there's your settings to tweak stuff. I mean, there a lot of it's like that. They're hidden in really hard to find places, and it's just much easier to use Kinect, the voice command to pop it up. And yeah, they're gonna need to really overhaul that UI to make it friendly without Kinect. Maybe they could do a thing where, because right now on the Xbox One, if you unplug the Kinect, it knows Kinect's not plugged in. I mean, it actually shows up in the upper corner of the screen the Kinect's not plugged in, like as Major Nelson found out when he released that screenshot, and it showed his Kinect wasn't plugged in. Maybe they could do a thing where if the system detects Kinect's not plugged in, it has a controller-friendly interface where if you have Kinect plugged in, it's what we have right now.
Right.
Well, it sounds like what they have is just pretty convoluted and needs to be updated anyway.
Well, it's fine with voice commands. It works fine if you're just navigating with voice. If you just want to tell it to go launch something or load up an app, it works perfectly that way. But if you want to navigate with a controller, it's not that intuitive.
All right, well, let's talk about the actual reason why they got rid of the Kinect, which is to have some kind of price parity with the PS4, which is completely lapping them as far as sales. Now it becomes an issue of the still a big thing of the lacking hardware and the games available. Now, I don't think either one is necessarily leading in this charge as far as games, but in hardware, it's a pretty clear who is in the lead. How much does this actually affect a year down the road, 2 years down the road? Is this hardware thing still a major issue, or will games actually make that big of a difference in the system?
I think that the gap in terms of power and stuff will increase a year down the road. So
Yeah.
who knows?
I mean, honestly, I remember
tap into that hidden GPU in the power supply. I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, we all know that's there. I mean, when we discussed it in the past, I was an advocate for something less than $399 for a Kinect-less version. I really don't think that they could reasonably expect to price it at the same level as the PS4. You know, but there is a lot of people out there that simply don't care about the technical details. You know, and obviously Microsoft is really aggressive about courting these previously, you know, strictly third-party developers like Insomniac to create games for their platform exclusively. And, you know, we don't know if those are going to all stay exclusives. But it's one of those things where I guess, you know, they have to really maintain this pace with their lineup, and it could be, you know, considering the date and the timing of the release with E3, that they have a lot of confidence in their lineup that they're planning to announce.
Yeah, I'm hearing some things about the E3 briefing that people are really excited about what Microsoft's going to show. So they're probably going to have a really strong. That's probably why they did this now, and they did the Halo announcement, got that out of the way to focus on the big things that they are probably going to have on the 9th.
Right. Honestly, I think there's until E3 we won't have a clear idea of what the next couple years are going to be down the road for each of these console manufacturers. So it's tough to say. I don't think down the road the hardware gap is going to play such a big deal, because these games, a lot of the games will come out on the same systems. There will be exclusives, but we'll see how it actually goes with the games. One thing I did want to talk about as far as the people who did early adopt this system and got it with the Kinect. Like Jeremy, I mean, obviously you picked it up. Do you feel like you kind of got bilked on this one, that you would have rather waited and paid $100 less?
No, not really, because I took advantage of the GameStop trade-in thing, and I got the Titanfall bundle. And the funny thing about this is I told my wife, the day they announced it, I told my wife, it's like, yeah, Microsoft just announced without Kinect, and she's like, why would they do that? You kind of need that, don't you? Because you kind of need it to navigate with voice, and like Upload Studio requires it, and I'm like, well, you know, there's some people who don't want the camera and all this stuff. So, I mean, I think once people realize what Kinect, you know, it does make certain things on the system easier. So some people might actually like it, but I don't feel jilted. Oh, however, I have a buddy. I'm not kidding. He literally went and bought his Xbox One 2 days, the weekend before this announcement came out. I mean,
oh boy!
I was online with him that night. He was setting up his Xbox One, and he's like, "What do you mean I have to use Kinect for Upload Studio?" I was walking him through how to use Upload Studio, and he's like, he's playing Forza, he's uploading videos, and then 2 days later, I get to see this tweet from him. He's like, "God damn!"
Well, think how we felt.
He took advantage of the GameStop trade-in too, so he didn't go and pay full price for it either. But still, if he waited, because he doesn't like Kinect at all, he wants to just unplug it.
Right.
I mean, you know, just speaking as you know, doing this podcast for a while now, we had horrible timing. This announcement came the day after our last week's podcast.
Yeah.
It seems to be a trend. Honestly, I know there were a few arguments, you know, against this move by people who, you know, were really still invested, you know, in the idea of Kinect and the concept of, you know, having Kinect in the box with every system. You know, at some point, eventually, developers are suddenly going to want to use it. because they can rely on it. And the reality is that there isn't a whole lot of advantages besides price, because there's a few people that brought up the notion that there might be some more performance that they can get out of the system by removing Kinect. But unfortunately, as long as there are systems with Kinect and games still have to take that into account, we more than likely won't see any of those resources freed up.
Well, you might see a little bit of it freed up, but in the games that don't that use that freed up resources, you won't have like Kinect features available. You possibly won't have voice commands, possibly won't have snap or something like that. They would just have that part disabled, and then that game will take advantage of the 10% extra performance, so you'll get better frame rates and stuff like that.
I want to bring up a question from one of our viewers, Stephen Reed. He says, given that the consoles with the most hardware power seems to lose out time and time again each generation, do you guys see this happening again? Like,
I don't necessarily agree with the premise of the question, because it's not always a case of the least powerful console. It's usually related to timing and price. That can snowball into more faster adoption, which gets you the exclusives, and that's what matters, of course, more than anything.
Right.
It's yes, okay, so the PS2 was the least powerful of that generation, unless you include the Dreamcast. The PS1 was less powerful than the N64, but it was more powerful than the Saturn. So it's not necessarily a case of the least powerful console always winning. It's always been about price and timing and other marketing factors.
Right, of course. I was thinking about a way, because we were talking about earlier about the whole early adopters buying the Xbox One with the Kinect included. How does Microsoft make right with those consumers?
Give them the Master Chief Collection for free.
Okay, well, let's think of a better.
I don't know.
Is that the only way they can do that? Is there any kind of other ambassador kind of program they can do?
The ambassador thing. I think there's this idea now, because Nintendo set the standard for it, that there's this entitlement as a purchaser to get something if you are an early adopter and the product changes. Every year I buy a new iPhone, and I don't think that they should get a new iPhone because they release a new one.
Apple refunded people when the first iPhone came out. They dropped the price pretty quickly, and then they gave everyone $100 back who bought it at launch. So.
I don't know if this is the same though, because as Jeremy said, there's been really recent statements that this wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, there was this really strong message being piped by time and time again by multiple people at Microsoft that this was essential, it's integral, it's never going to go away. I mean, there is a little bit of false advertising, I guess you could say, leading towards this.
It's not so much false advertising. It's kind of, I think it's similar to the company line at the time, whereas back in the last generation, Sony was saying that Rumble was a last generation feature, and the future is the 6-axis, and they reversed that after they got through that lawsuit over Rumble. So I think it's more like the company line at the time was Kinect was essential, because back in February, even back then, Ballmer was technically still around, and that was still the company line. And now, like I said, Ballmer and Matrick are gone, and so far everything they've been doing, just company-wide in terms of Microsoft, not just the Xbox division, but I'm talking about the operating systems and everything, has been a big improvement since Ballmer left. So I think it's actually a positive. It's a good sign that they're listening. And we'll get into it more later in the show of the other changes that they're doing. So I think that change of the guard is going to see more things like this that we thought that Microsoft may never do that they are doing.
I think that we're giving ourselves a little bit too much entitlement as consumers to expect that they change their direction as the company. That there was a chance, even from the consumer standpoint, we all expected, or at least a good majority of people expected this not to end up working out. And if nothing else, you have to give them credit for sticking to their guns and then realizing that this isn't going to work for them for sales, and they pulled out pretty quick. I mean, this is exactly what everyone wanted them to do, and now that they're doing it, they have to eat crow from all the people who were telling them to do it.
Well, let me just add one thing to this. It's going to be $3.99. for the Xbox One on June 9th. But you know what? If you want an Xbox One, go buy one right now because you could get it with Titanfall still, and a lot of places it's still $4.99, but you could find it for like $4.79. You could get it with Titanfall, and most places are still throwing in Forza, so you could get the system 2 games. If you don't want Kinect, just unplug it. But you can actually get a better deal if you buy it right now than if you wait till June 9th.
There's a little bit of silver lining. I don't know what the demand will be, but eventually, as we get further into the year and these $3.99 systems are selling assumably better than the Kinect versions, people who have Kinect can sell them on eBay and sell them to those people that don't have Kinect.
Yeah, if you don't want it,
If you're right, you assumably Kinect will sell for a similar price as the last gen version for about $150 by itself. You can sell it on eBay and undercut that by $100. I mean, for $100, and there might be some demand for it, probably not a lot, but at least you get some compensation that way.
All right. Anyone else want to say anything about this until we so we can move on to the next Microsoft-centric news?
Not really anything. I mean, I'm just
take that as
well, actually, we should add one thing. You do
Sure.
kind of have to feel the sorry for like Harmonix.
Oh yeah.
Oops. I mean, sorry about Fantasia, guys. I mean,
they had some kind of depressing tweets. I mean, because also their the crowdfunding efforts are not going that well. So it's just been all bad news for them.
And it's like I think there were a couple indies, some ID at Xbox indies, who won't be hurt as much, who are working on some Kinect type stuff. So the people who are making Kinect games, yeah, now it kind of sucks for them.
Do you think this, like, they'll sell a separate Kinect like they did with the first one?
Yeah, they already said that they would, and it won't be $100. Phil Spencer came out and said it won't be $100, which means it's probably gonna be like $129 or something.
Oh.
Right.
All right, moving along. Microsoft also announced that they're going to be adopting the Games for Gold for Xbox One, as well as dropping the paywall that stops people from accessing applications such as Netflix without the paid Xbox Live subscription.
Welcome to
This
the
is something
21st
that
century.
people have wanted for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and the funny thing about this is, Amazon announced that Kindle Fire TV a few weeks ago or a month ago, and as part of their announcement, they showed a slide from a user review of the Xbox One complaining, like, yeah, you can't use Netflix without paying $50 to Microsoft for Xbox Live to run Netflix. So this was another thing that was probably a long time coming, and one, it took a changing of the guard at Microsoft, and two, it probably took the competition from Sony and everyone else for them to change their minds on this. Finally.
Right.
Yeah. Well, although I'm not really sure. I would have expected this change even without, even with Don Matrick still there and things like that. I think it was just a holdover from the last gen that just needed to be updated. Just don't think we were expecting an announcement like right now.
Well,
at the same time.
I expected it like at E3 because someone was bugging Phil Spencer on Twitter about it, and he says, I have a list of changes I'm going to implement, and still discussing them. And when he said the list of changes, you knew they were going to make some changes Xbox Live, including dropping the paywall, but it was something I expected them to do at E3. But since they announced it now with this, that means they're probably clearing the way for bigger announcements at their press briefing.
Now they did change the policy, so now you have to have a gold membership if you're going to play these free games.
It's PlayStation Plus now, basically.
Right,
Yeah.
right. They're following the same lead.
But it's great because I wanted to play Max Curse of the Brotherhood, and I kind of did want to try out Halo Spartan Assault, so I was actually close to buying Max like last week, and now I'm like, oh, now I don't have to buy it. I could just wait till June 9th to play for free.
Yeah, then the games, the selection of titles is getting better. I mean, they're not quite as old anymore, which is
I wouldn't be surprised like if we got Crimson Dragon in July.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. Rise, so you can see the Rise being in there as well.
Well, later in the fall, probably. Yeah, they'll probably add Rise.
Probably.
They cited Rise as specifically a game that will receive a discount.
Yeah.
That and Forza Motorsports 5.
The launch titles, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those are about 50 to 75%.
They're platinum titles.
Yeah, something like
Do you
that.
guys-
Yeah.
Do you guys
I'm
think they
pretty sure
should?
On that.
Do you guys think they should have waited till E3? You think it would have been better if they did it that way?
Like
Well,
I
they
said,
had to, it's for the shareholders, right? I mean, they did it. The timing of it is more than a little suspicious. 2 days before NPD's results.
yeah, it was trying to lessen that MPD blow because it was a pretty brutal blow.
Also, I mean, announcing all this big stuff earlier makes me kind of excited about what they're gonna say at E3.
Exactly.
Hopefully
Right,
it's-
yes, everyone is.
They're getting like the little stuff out of the way, and then E3 will be the big stuff. Because like
Yeah.
Halo 5 won't be till next fall, so they'll have maybe a CG trailer, but they don't really have much to show for that. So then
Right.
they move that out of E3, they get that out of the way, and then they focus on real games.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah,
that's the
hopefully.
case.
That's one of the
That's
signs
what
of
that's what
having all
the
this
rumors are
information
saying.
now.
That's going to be that's what the rumors are saying. That's what the case is. There's some apparently really exciting stuff that they'll have at E3.
So
Better
what would
than
you
they
guys want
figured out
to?
backwards
See, the thing right now is
What would
the
you
thing right
consider
now is
exciting to see from them?
I'm getting a lot of booth invites and stuff for E3, and some of the stuff has unannounced titles in it that you can't talk about yet, but they list like these are what we'll have and showing, and there's some cool stuff going to be at E3. I mean,
To answer Randy's question, I really can't point to anything in particular because it's something where I don't really want to see existing franchises receiving
Right.
sequels and stuff. I want to see like creative, more of like Sunset Overdrive
mhm.
and that sort of thing, which that gets me excited and actually a little bit jealous because that's exactly the sort of game that I'm in the mood to play these days.
Right.
And we want to see more of that, and it doesn't have to be lighthearted, but just I don't think it's something that you can predict, and I hope it's not something that we can predict because I want to be surprised. They set a high bar last year with E3, so.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we can safely assume that obviously there's going to be Halo footage, there's going to be Call of Duty footage, but the new games, the stuff that we actually have no idea about, I think that's the things that are going to carry these systems past one another in the coming years.
I
We're
want to
always
see.
looking for it, E3.
I want to see, even though it's kind of been going back and forth with like tit for tat when it comes to Microsoft, mirroring Sony's every move. But I would like to see maybe a streaming service from Microsoft to see if they can come up with a solution and an answer to PlayStation Now.
I you know what I still say I want a new 1 versus 100. It doesn't have to be 1 versus 100, but a new weekly game show on Xbox Live. I want that at E3. I don't care what game show it is. I just want that because that was so fun. That justified the subscription of Xbox One.
They're going to need more stuff like
Jeremy
that.
glow as much as when he talks about 1 versus 100.
It was so fun, and like they gave away like the top winner would win like Microsoft points, and they would give other stuff away. They give away like Xbox Live Arcade games and stuff, and it was like I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was like Tuesday and Thursday nights or something like that. Had a set time. You turn on the Xbox, it's like turning on a TV show, and it was interactive, and that was a lot of fun. My wife and I played that every week, and when they got rid of it, it was like, oh man, there was no reason to have Xbox 360 anymore. Because when they ended it, it was like no, seriously, it was right towards the end of the lifespan of the Xbox One 360 when the first-party output was really shrinking and it was mostly Kinect stuff coming out. So it's like, yeah, why would we even turn on the Xbox anymore? Because there's no 1 versus 100.
They're really going to need to invest in like the original shows and content.
Yeah, exactly.
With the way they're changing the Live Gold subscription.
I agree.
We just have to bring up 1 versus 100 every single week, and eventually they'll do it.
Make it trending, you guys. Make it happen.
I've tweeted Phil Spencer like, do it. 1 versus 100. Everyone else, most of the people who played it too want it, and it's like I actually got all the achievements in it too. It was an arcade game, so it was only 200 gamer score, but I got every achievement in that game too because
I never
was
played
great.
it, and now I want it.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. And the great thing is it uses the avatars, so it was always funny to see like when they choose the one because they would choose one person out of the audience, see what kind of crazy avatar they have.
Maybe some guy who's like standing still for a second, then it would zoom in on him. He put his hands up. He'd be like, excited for a second. All right.
Awesome.
Let's talk about some NPD numbers.
Oh, it's so exciting.
It's a mixed bag. Titanfall was the best-selling game. but not because of Xbox One. Call of Duty Ghosts was the number 2 selling game. It's been out for almost a year. NBA 2K14 surprisingly still doing really well. Minecraft obviously doing really, really well on the Xbox 360. Infamous wasn't on this list, yet it is the best-selling next-gen game of the month.
Yeah, don't know what that says.
So now we know why, like, the 360 Titanfall didn't come out till April, because if that came out in March, ouch. I mean,
yeah, really.
It should be said that I haven't played it, but people I've heard said that the 360 one actually holds up really well to the other versions, even being on 8-year-old hardware. It holds up well. I mean, it's good enough for people who still have a 360 to get the basic Titanfall experience. So no wonder it's selling well in the 360, because it's, you know, the time of year when there's not much coming out.
Right.
I'm really honestly surprised that Infamous didn't at least get on this top 10 for as many people who are diehard about the PlayStation 4, and it's a good system. They've sold lots of them. Why aren't people buying this game more?
I don't think a lot of people are familiar with Infamous. You know,
even in a drought. I mean, even you would think that even a drop of water would.
I think those people who didn't buy Infamous who have PS4s are people who are still playing with like Playroom in PS4 and just like, I'm good of just a camera streaming service. All I need is to showcase my cool gun collection and drugs all over across
the
Twitch.
System where I can do creepy stuff on the internet.
Did you guys
totally acceptable.
I told you guys about that weird Freddy Krueger one that got shut down pretty quick? When he was molesting a mannequin.
Oh,
what the hell?
It's a sick place out there.
I don't know. People would rather buy old games than the new ones, I guess.
Oh, yeah, and it's like those Lego games, you know, on the Wii U. I mean, that's like probably the only thing that sold. Probably those are the only Wii U games on the top 10.
You gotta consider a couple factors. Like one, most people who don't really like, you know, games often, or like they mostly gravitate towards, like if they like Call of Duty, they'll go to any kind of first-person shooter, but they will not go to like an action game unless they are completely familiar with the franchise. Two, there's a lot of people who are new adopters to the PlayStation platform, so they haven't played Infamous at all. So, like, let's say, like, oh, I just bought a PS4. It's like, I don't want to buy Stick and Sign. I haven't even played the first. I don't even know who his first son is. Who's the first son?
It's strange because it is an action-adventure game, and that's still a very, very popular genre. So even regardless of the fact that it's not
but the title makes it seem that you should play the first one, even for the most like people who are not running PlayStation like video game podcasts. They don't know. They're like, oh, a second son. So where's the first son? I want to play the first one. And they don't really know.
Where's that first son? How was First Son? I want to play that game.
Exactly.
Everybody that bought it already has it, and like that's everyone.
And how scary
everyone that wants it already has it.
And look at Minecraft charting. That's a single platform. That's Xbox 360 only, Minecraft.
Yeah.
Because the PS3 one's not out on disc yet. It's coming out on disc soon. And then they'll have the Xbox One and PS4 versions. But that's scary. I mean, when that thing's out on all 4 systems, that might knock Call of Duty out, maybe.
Yeah, it could, or it could just remain a 360. Primarily 360 hit, but
well, they're actually letting the people. They're actually
came out this week, so a lot of people are buying it.
Yeah, they'll probably do it on the PS4 version as well. On the Xbox One version, you're able to transfer your stuff from the 360 one to the Xbox One version.
That's smart.
That's smart. Yeah.
So all the kids will be able to transfer all their creations right on over, and so that's just going to keep it going, and Notch is just swimming in his money bin right now.
It's a really funny thing. For as much as we say like the younger generations are kind of like ADD addled and can't focus on anything, they seem to be able to play one game a lot longer than people in my generation and the generation before me are able to.
I have 2 nephews. I have 2 nephews. One just turned 10, and the other one is 14 now. And they play Minecraft on the 360, on their tablets, and I think they're going to get the PS3 one as well. And they just spend hours building like these elaborate constructions. And I'm like, I like Landmark on the PC a bit, but I don't have that much I don't have ADD or anything, but I don't have that much patience to sit there with these little voxels and build this huge castle that they're doing. And
I cannot be bothered.
yeah, it's
Right.
and I appreciate Minecraft for what it is. I really, really, really do. It's just I could see what kids like in it. It's kind of like their versions of Legos. I prefer.
Yeah.
I like physical Legos. I'll build physical Lego stuff all day long. But on the computer screen, no, I prefer to have it in my hand. But I absolutely understand what they're coming from with this, and I can see why it's such a huge hit. And it's cool to see that there is something like that because these kids, they're playing Minecraft, and they're playing it on everything, and that's going to keep them as gamers going on where it's not limited to tablets, it's on every platform. So these kids are going to have fond memories of Minecraft, and they'll become the next game developers in the future, and they'll be making games that are that creative 20 years down the line.
I mean, I love that this game is popular. I'm not into it, but I love that a game that's so open-ended that allows for so much creativity that, like, is actually this popular. I wouldn't, if you would have told me this, like, probably 5 or 6 years ago, I'd be like, whatever. No one wants to make things, not these, like, elaborate, like, intricate, like, castles or whatever. But it was just, like, kids, like, young as, like, 10 years old or 8 years old are doing it like it's nothing, and I don't know.
For them, it's a nurturing experience still because, when you're that young, you don't know what you're capable of, and Minecraft is kind of a way to explore your creativity and your mind. And I mean, us as adults, we may play it and we may already know our own limitations in a lot of ways, especially creatively. So it's just, it doesn't have that same kind of effect.
I think this genre, it's introduced a new genre where they're trying to copy it with Landmark, but that's why Infinity's doing so well. It's the same type of thing. Just with toys. So yeah, it's sparking their creativity, and it's just making their minds go wild. And Infinity's doing the same thing. It's like I love Infinity. I think it's great. I'm really looking forward to Marvel, but I've heard stories of kids who just spend all night building racetracks in that game.
Yeah, and the idea is, that's why we're getting games like Fortnite, where you have that construction element that becomes part of the gameplay. And something that Valve is pursuing in a broader sense, because the things that the gamers create then become the content that everyone else can participate in. And so gamers become less of games become less of something that's a product of just a single team inside of a studio, and more of a product of everybody contributing, kind of like Web 2.0 for games.
Yeah. That's kind of what they're doing with the new Unreal Tournament, and Sony's doing it with Landmark, and I think they'll probably do the same thing with H1Z1, where they have the development really open, and they're doing some stuff in Landmark where I don't think it's implemented yet. It's going to go into EverQuest Next as well, where they're going to have a Reddit-style thumb up, thumb down on features on the UI. So they put a feature in, and people can thumb up and their thumb down the feature to say if they like how it's implemented. So I think there's going to be a lot more of that going forward.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, let's take our first break. When we come back, we still have a lot of announcements to talk about. We have Far Cry 4, Halo 5, Guardians, and we have a little bit to talk about with the Division. And obviously, if you have questions, submit them, and we will read them at the end of the show in our last segment. So stick with us, and we'll be right back with more 1985 FM podcast.
Yeah, we got a great question when we come back.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Well, actually, we'll do it at the end of the show. Tim Dog, Project the Tail fan, wants to know about when we'll get more E3 announcements this week. More stuff is coming. Yeah, we probably will, because they had Judges Day last week.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we're going to get something. They're probably going to want to send it towards the end of the week, so they're the last thing that was announced.
Okay, they did Judges Days last week, which means Judges Days is when they give out the Game of the Show awards,
right,
where they decide them, which means everything they're showing on the floor is finalized, where everything that is important is finalized. So they're going to probably start doing the press previews where they fly the press down like this week, where they fly them down, show them everything so they can write everything up in advance of the show. So yeah, we might start getting some things. A lot of stuff will be embargoed to the show, but yeah, that's a good question to address.
Well, yeah, we know the track record. We know it's going to get all announced tomorrow, right after the podcast airs.
Oh yeah, that's how it works. They're going to wait till Monday this time.
Right. No, that's you know, that's. By the way,
I don't think it's ever happened in the history of the show that like something like right before we've come on is like really big has ever been announced.
no, it's happened during the show. This
Oh,
is how
no, it happened today with Twitch. You know,
Oh yeah.
so-
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And well, no, it's happened during the show when Sony announced 6 million sold. It was
Yeah.
like we were
Oh,
off
yeah.
doing the show, and because they announced it, they announced it in Japan, which was like 11 o'clock our time. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
well, look, Sony just announced 6 million sold.
Yeah,
we
we
all
had to
need
do
to
that.
move. That's a problem.
I'm the odd one out. I guess I have to move. Hey, we didn't address hardware sales.
What's that?
We didn't address hardware sales.
We've been
Hardware
kind of
size.
into the Xbox One so far tonight. I mean, do we really want to beat it down more?
Yes. No.
116,000? Ouch! That could explain the price drop right there. They're like, oh crap, panic, panic.
We were kind of leading into that, but we didn't quite just say it.
Oh, I have to show you guys this comic for hold on. Sorry, and I'll find it. Continue. Let me see if I can find this comic.
Also, there was this really funny quote I wanted to say on air from Yusef Mehdi, or Mehdi.
Oh yeah, we got to do that. That quote is awesome.
I love it.
Oh yes, I found the image. Let me see if I can post this up real quick. Okay, check in the chat. This link.
What's
Not
that?
there.
I just
Now it
posted
is.
it right now.
What did it say?
I like the Adam Orth.
That's great.
What did it say?
Look at the link. It's in the chat.
It's kind of visual, Randy. We couldn't describe it without.
That comic they always show, and it always reminds me of the joke, like, a guy's walking.
Oh,
into the
are you talking about the what do you call it? The putting Xbox One out to pasture or the Kinect 2.0?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I see that comic a lot with a lot of different things. It
Yeah.
always reminds me of the joke of the guy walking into the forest with the little kid. The little kid's like, "Gee, mister, this forest is nice, dark and scary." And the guy's like, "You're telling me I got to walk out here by myself?"
Damn.
Oh man.
Oh, right. That chat's actually starting to get picked up now.
Yeah, 'cause I got Tim Dog in there.
Oh, Christ.
All right, beautiful. All right, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Is it Mehdi or Meaty? Is it Mehdi? Yusef Mehdi? Does anybody know?
I can't pronounce names, man. I can
say
barely
Mehdi.
read my own name. All right, say Mehdi. We're committing to this.
Yep.
You should probably ask.
If we sound like fools, and it wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, no, indeed.
Yeah, I went to Walmart tonight and they had the Godzilla 2-packs for $12, and I almost got them. I'll get them like tomorrow or the next day.
2 packs of.
Okay, they released a bunch of Godzilla. They were 4 Godzilla 2-packs. Sony did, and they're a mixture. There's some Heisei era ones, and then there's a Showa one, and then there's 2 Millennium ones. So it's they're actually really good ones. The Millennium one is Tokyo SOS and Final Wars 2-pack Blu-ray, and Final Wars is awesome. That was the last one Toho did, and they're actually even more on Amazon. They're like $14-15 on Amazon. Now, let me bring them up real quick. The 4 ones they did, because they just came out like last week or week before. So it's Godzilla versus King Ghidorah and Godzilla versus Mothra. That's one. And then there's Final Wars in Tokyo SOS. That's another one. Then Godzilla versus Destroya and Godzilla versus Megareus, the G Annihilation Strategy. Those 2 aren't that great. But then they have Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2 and Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. And Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla has Godzilla, Manila, Godzilla Jr. in it. So there's some good ones. And then there's also individual Blu-rays that came out that aren't. I mean, I'll get them, but come on, they're $13 each. So they have Ibera Horror of the Deep, which is Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. Then Godzilla on Monster Island, which is Godzilla versus Gigan. And then there's also Godzilla versus Hedorah, which is the Smog Monster. But those are individual ones, and I'll get those eventually. But I'm gonna get those 2-packs absolutely, because they're Japanese with English subtitles.
Oh,
Oh, crap!
That's why. What happened?
New Gamera 4-pack came out. It has Gamera, the giant monster, Gamera versus Barugon, Gaios, and Verga, the 60s ones, so the 65, 66, 67, 68. Oh, they have 2 of them. Crap! I need to get this job because I'm gonna do a massive kaiju order on Amazon.
You spend every fucking.
That's how it happens though. When you're broke is when you find all these things you need to spend money on.
Well, it's like they released all the kaiju Blu-rays because Godzilla's out, and I'm like, I have every one on Blu-ray that's been released up to this point. So I'm like, I need to get these. Because the ones I have on Netflix right now are crap. They're the old like 50s and 60s ones. The 90s and 2000 are the best. Final Wars is great because that's the one where Godzilla basically fights every monster. It was Toho's grand goodbye to Godzilla. And at one point, he fights Zilla, which is the American Godzilla from 1998.
Oh, I heard about that.
It's awesome. They teleport Zilla down. Godzilla looks at him, whacks him with his tail, throws him into the Sydney Opera House, blasts him with his atomic breath, and he's dead. That's all the fight is.
That's all you really need.
The guy who's summoning all the monsters is like, "You tuna-eating idiot!" It's great.
All right. Let's move on to the next part of the show. So next up, we're going to be talking. I don't have these scenes labeled, so it's tough to know what I'm going into next. I know we're going into the Twitch, YouTube stuff, going into the Division, Far Cry, Halo, and maybe we'll try to just run that all into one section and go into the final one being Q&A and just free form kind of stuff.
Sweet. Make sure you're on mute and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey guys, we're back, and we are going to be talking about a few of the releases that have been announced this past week. First and foremost, we have Halo 5 Guardian. Everyone knew, I think, a new Halo was coming. I think that was kind of inevitable. Anyone excited?
Well, we knew it was coming. We knew Halo 5 was coming, but we got the box art this week and the subtitle and the image of the new character. And the interesting thing about what we might, if you're a Bungie fan, you know, Bungie's games are all kind of connected in their own universe. Now, even though 343 is doing it, they still have that lore to pull from. And the new armor on it has an Ani logo on it, and which is leading people maybe believe that maybe it's going to be Ani versus Master Chief in Halo 5.
That's going back a ways.
But yeah, it has the Ani logo on the armor, and I'm like, ooh, interesting.
That is kind of interesting.
Well, Ani was in the Halo games themselves, the organization. So, but yeah, maybe it's them fighting Master Chief. Maybe they created a new Master Chief that, you know, is the new Master Chief, and Master Chief's the old model, and they clash or something.
Now they need to re-release an HD version of the original title.
Well,
it's funny you should mention that, Mr. Mayor, because there's a lot of talk about them doing a remaster, not just of the first one, but all 4 of the first Halo games.
Now, and this was part of that, not the NT kernel leak. That NT kernel leak
exactly.
said this would happen, and that was before I got my Xbox One. So when I got my Xbox One, actually, some of the stuff I traded in was my 360 Halo games because I kind of knew this was coming. So it'll be fun to play through 1 through 4 again before 5 comes out, because I haven't played 1 and 2 since they originally came out.
Right.
Not a fan of 2, but I think, I don't know if this is the same rumor, but I know that there was talk of it starting with the second one and not including the first one just because they had just recently released that.
Anniversary edition, yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds like now they're going to do all 4 just to have the complete collection.
On Xbox One, yeah.
On Xbox One, yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, people would like to have a remastered version of that. I don't think it's exciting to me, or I don't know if anyone else is particularly
Well,
interested. But I mean, it's fun.
it's a good lure to upgrade for people to upgrade from the 360 because it's not backwards compatible, and you're like, oh look here, you have all your Halo games on it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did the same thing for Gears of War before the new Gears of War came out. They did a Gears of War collection. It's like, oh, here's all your Gears of War games. So you can upgrade, get rid of your 360, you can still have all the games you like here on your Xbox One.
Yeah, it's kind of like when some movie studios will release when a sequel is coming out, they may re-release the original movie on like Blu-ray or something and get the hype back up again.
Now,
Kind of Godzilla.
Project Natal fan in the chat is saying that only 2 is going to be the full HD remaster of the game, whereas 3 and 4 are just going to be ports.
Yeah,
That
was the NT kernel rumor that 2 was a full HD remake. They did do a remake of 1, so I could see that actually being HD like 2 because they have all the assets and it was remade. So I'd imagine 1 and 2 would look really good, and then 3 and 4 would just be straight ports.
2 looks
Which would be
great,
fine by
but
me
3 and
because
4, my God.
I only played like the first 2 games, and I'm actually kind of curious to play 3 and 4. So maybe at some point I might have an Xbox One, and this might be actually kind of appealing.
Well, 1, 2, and 3 are great. 4 is okay. I mean, I'm hoping 343 ups their game a bit with 5.
They're just like a big blur to me, a big abstract blur of just like insanity. It's just so like I don't know. I want to like those games, but every time I play through the campaigns, it just mind-numbingly is like boring.
It's like fucking Fast and Furious.
The action scene with just the most like routine kind of like story.
It's like Fast and Furious. There's like 7. There's 7 of them. There's way too many of these games. I don't know. I'm excited.
There can never be too many Fast and the Furious.
God damn it.
How many are there now?
I'm still waiting for Tokyo
20?
Drift 2.
There could never be too many Fast and the Furious.
Oh my God! Looks like you have 6 too many right there. Jeez.
I don't know. I think that's exciting. I mean, like I never really was into Halo, but I'm willing to give it a shot again if it's remastered and everything. But I still think it's kind of like a Band-Aid over what the real problem is with most of these games. Is like I don't want to see remasters. I don't want to see remakes or reboots. I want to see new IPs. Those experiences happen. They exist.
I don't actually. I'm on the other side. I don't mind them for certain games. Like there's a rumor going around of a Mass Effect trilogy release.
Yeah, but that's the list.
I would love to be able to play through all 3 Mass Effect games on one disc, level up a Shepard that I could then transfer over to Mass Effect 4 on the next-gen system. So on certain games, I'm fine with HD remakes. Other ones, if I've already...
Would that be the only way to, like, so you also still want a continuation of Shepard's story, which would be kind of like, why? Just make a whole... that universe is really fast.
Continuation of Shepard's story. I mean, it could adapt in some way to the way you
Shepard's
play.
kid.
It doesn't have to be
exactly
like your traits.
His second son.
But the events that you set up. But isn't this supposed to be a prequel, anyways?
Who knows?
Part 4. Anyways, yeah.
So he has visions of Shepard, and that gets transferred over from your last 3 Mass Effect
of the
files.
ending of Mass Effect 3.
But
guy staring at a star at the very end.
It's the same dream over and over again, but it's a different color.
It's a different color.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, as far as Mass Effect goes, I think it's too soon to like even remake those. Like, and that's another thing that's bothering me too. It's just like, hey, this game came out last year, HD remake. Hello, Last of Us.
I think we're looking at from a perspective of the people who play these games the first time they come out. For as many games as that come out, there's a lot of people who don't get a chance to play these games. And with
Lawrence,
the HD remaster,
the way you're looking at it.
Lawrence,
the way you're looking at it.
Yeah, and
we're trying to get that sentence in.
I don't
Really wants to get that sentence in.
Okay.
Right.
With a new console, you always have you didn't have the preceding console.
You've already played these games because you had a PS3 in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to keep in fact that like there are people like me who the PS4 is my first Sony system ever. I haven't played any of those, and if I can get those great quality games in high definition, better than they might have looked on in the past, I'm gonna want those games. And if I can't get the remasters, I at least want to have the backwards compatibility.
Would
Right.
you buy?
You don't have to pull out an old system to play it.
Would you buy like a 3-pack of the Uncharted games for PS4?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and where Brendan's coming from, you could say the same thing about the Xbox One. There may be people out there who bought an Xbox One who never had a 360, and now they can play the Halo games. So
Right.
That would be me.
I think we're also discounting that next generation of gamers. We like to think of anyone younger than us as just punk kids that are playing Call of Duty and fornicating with their mothers.
The only problem
What?
that's a common theme that's,
I was gonna say
always
Flappy
on
Bird,
the-
but like,
yeah, there's a lot of young punks fornicating with their mothers. Very common. But
there's always I think there are certain games like Mass Effect's a good example, Last of Us is a good example, Halo's a great example, Gears of War's a great example. There are certain games that were so good on the previous platform that deserve to be redone on the new platform for those people who never played them before. And
And not just that they're good, but that they're going to get sequels on this new generation.
yeah, and so I like having like continuity on the same platform, having all the games of one series on that platform. So I ever go back and want to play them, and
right. I
You almost
think
feel like-
some of these games they're so iterative, and they've changed so much over the years that if someone were to never play these games and then come back to like say the original Mass Effect, they might not be interested in, especially how drastically it changes over the course of the 3 games, or even Halo for that matter. Halo 1 still a fun game, but it's stripped of many of the features that now seem standard to anyone who played any shooter in the last year.
it's interesting. I mean, like what you guys are saying, it reminds me a lot of like what's happening now. It reminds me a lot of what Nintendo does. A lot of times, I mean, they just take the same franchises, they either reboot them or they just continue on, and then we always drag on about how much fatigue we have of these franchises. Do we want another Zelda? Do we want another Mario?
People
just like
begging for a remaster of their games, of the Zelda games.
yeah.
Like it was a
Wind
common
Waker-
thread that you would see all over the place.
Wind Waker HD turned out great, even though they still didn't finish the game. It turned out great. And yeah,
But it didn't.
people
Go on.
want Twilight Princess remastered. They want the Nintendo fans want all that. They could re-release, the original Star Fox. just an
But they did. They
No.
already did. They did it on the
They just had a
3DS.
big release that was a remix of old NES games. I think they can get away with just about,
Yeah,
about
exactly.
anything on the.
And none of you guys.
installed.
I don't know. I'm really fatigued.
Do remasters of like all their N64 games.
No, I
And
don't.
they'll just
I don't.
they'll
No.
just be rolling in money. It's not that they're not already, but
Yeah, I just don't. I just don't want that. I mean, those games already exist, and they're
But
not.
Lawrence, it's
Go on.
not like it's you're choosing to only have those remastered games, because
Yeah.
in the case of The Last of Us, it is a small team within Naughty Dog that's handling that, and they got 2 other games in the works right now. So
Right,
it's
yeah.
just supplemental more than a substitute.
And especially in this part of the console cycle where there are a lot of games in development right now, the easiest way to generate
But,
revenue right now is to re-release
Sure.
the games that have already been really popular and do it very cheaply.
But it's not even just the re-releases; it's the sequels to those games as well. It's just like, okay, Mass
Yeah,
Effect.
it's a business though,
Uh,
so I mean, you're
or-
going to bet on a sure thing and use the money from that to make those risky developments.
and then
Leave it to the
But
indies.
there's a ton of new franchises that spawned off the last generation. They didn't constantly remaster in. They didn't constantly remaster in like do sequels of the Xbox, the original Xbox. They made new franchises.
But
And same with the
those new franchises came in the second and third year of the console lifespan. They don't really come out at launch. A lot of stuff that comes out at launch is quickly forgotten. Heavily Sword,
right.
Perfect Dark
Right.
Zero, Gun. Although Gun was awesome, those type of games get easily forgotten, and they're just quick launch titles. I mean, they need a good year or so to get the system established. Then they release the big new franchises. Like Order comes out this year, but I don't really I don't know if Ordos are going to become a big franchise for this generation. I don't think we're going to really see
I don't.
the big breakout new franchises till next year.
You know what,
I don't know if that's going to be a big breakout franchise either, but I'm excited because it's new and it's fresh. I'm willing to give it a shot.
I don't feel like there's a real shortage of new IPs. I mean, like those examples, and then Watch Dogs and The Division. I mean, we're seeing like a new Assassin's Creed, but Ubisoft was also branching out into new stuff and other companies as well. So
Right.
Sunset Overdrive. I keep coming back to that game because
that game
it's
looks
really
great.
good looking.
Mhm.
It's and even like taking an old franchise like say Plants vs Zombies and turning it into Garden Warfare and doing something really new
Which
and
was
unique.
awesome. It was basically turned it into Team Fortress, and I still say that game is a better game than Titanfall. You have more content for your money in that game. I'm serious.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Say that.
I mean, you got more classes, you get more content, you get more. I mean, when they do DLC, it's like they add game modes and stuff to it. So
All they need is
it's less than Titanfall 2. It's $40. Go buy it.
Oh my God, I've heard it all now. I knew this was going
Great.
to
If
be
you
a
like
rough
Team
week.
Fortress, play it. It's fun.
Zombie Fall.
All right, let's move on to the next game. And guess what? It's a sequel. Far Cry 4 has been announced, and it's taking place in the Himalayas.
I haven't played Far Cry since Far Cry 2, so.
Last one was good.
That's one was good.
I
Yeah,
did want to
last
play
one
that.
was
very,
I
very
did want
good.
to play that '80s, the spin-off, the Blood Dragon.
Blood
Yeah,
Dragon.
yeah. That was really great.
Blood Dragon was pretty
See
rad.
if they expand on a lot of the ideas that they introduced into Far Cry 3 as far as like incentivizing the upgrades by tying them into quests and having it in a very practical way. I think that was one of the cooler things that happened in that game. Like, in order to get like the stuff you need to make a bigger, like a satchel, you had to kill like boars or something like that. And I'm just kind of pulling. I think that's how it worked.
I like
Like a lot of the hunting stuff was really, really cool.
I like Far Cry 3 a lot, but I couldn't stand the character I was playing as in story, to be honest.
Did you guys see the social justice warrior outrage over the artwork of Far Cry 4? They called it homophobic and racist.
Wow.
Someone took the box art and replaced the guy in the pink shirt with Willy Wonka, and the guy who's on his knees with the Oompa Loompa.
I think people have seen that cover actually.
Oh, that's great.
Actual cover.
That's a game I want to play. I'm looking forward to it.
Far Cry would be awesome.
Now,
It looks cool.
what I think is notable about this release date is November 18th. It is
Yeah,
cross-generational. There was actually a little bit of backlash too about the fact that it's cross-generational, which I think is kind of silly because we are talking about Ubisoft here,
Yeah.
and they're going to make money off of whatever platforms make them money. Which, on that note, there's no Wii U version.
There'll probably be a tablet one.
The biggest
Yeah, I
proponents
mean,
of the Wii U
considering,
version is not making a Wii U version.
yeah, well, I mean,
That's actually weird for Ubisoft because Ubisoft normally does like almost everything on the Wii. I mean,
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed still.
Yeah, it's different time.
they've been a big supporter of the Wii U, and no one else would be. With even as recently as Assassin's Creed 4 and Watch Dogs. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it is. I think it's a little bit of a surprise
Yeah.
that it's not there.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
and,
Or they may not have just announced it yet.
weird issue there.
Sometimes they hold those Wii U announcements for later when they figure out what intern's going to port it.
Yeah.
The ports are good though for the Wii U.
Yeah,
those-
Assassin's Creed
for one
3
intern, that's pretty
Assassin's
fucking
Creed 3
good.
turned out pretty well on the Wii U, actually. It was actually turned out better in the PS3 version, so...
yeah, it's actually one of the better launch titles, and Assassin's Creed 4 as well. I think did pretty well.
Yeah. I'm more interested with Far Cry 4's, with kind of like Far Cry 3's like mechanics and what they introduce as far as like hunting, and gathering.
Yeah,
So hopefully like they add in some other new element to it that I'm not expecting. But yeah,
patchworking,
patchworking. Yeah, I don't know.
a sewing mechanic.
Yes, I want to make my own poncho.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
that'd be a great E3 demonstration. You see this poncho? I made it.
And here you can make your
On the
own.
Xbox.
As long as it doesn't lock up like Assassin's Creed 4 did last year.
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
The camera zooms in on the guy doing it. There's another guy also doing it, but he's doing it from like a tablet, from like a Microsoft Surface tablet.
Yeah.
He's like, let me show you Project Glass with Far Cry 4. Using a touchscreen interface, I'm able to implement all these different stitchings in this.
Oh
in this
my gosh, I
basket.
forgot about how much we saw of that last year.
Oh, man.
Much, like,
Let me just
secondary,
zoom into his hand.
asynchronous experience stuff. Oh my gosh.
Especially
And
like the
here we show you how to make your own whip so you can control your slaves.
Oh man,
Too
we go
early.
there.
All right. And next, The Division, another Ubisoft game, has been delayed. Saying as late as 2015, but some people are even saying as late as 2016, as I think that more time will be needed. I mean, from what we've seen, the game seems like it's really ambitious, and I don't think it's a surprise that they're considering delaying the game.
They were rumored to be
considerably.
working on that since like 2009.
Wow.
Really.
So it's like it was like one of the first things Ubisoft put into for next gen. So they've been
As
working
far
on it
as
for a
delays, I
long
think
time.
this might be the next stick of truth.
It'll come out when the PS5 and Xbox 2 are out.
Yeah,
Right.
They had to delay it
but
even
they'll
further.
still have it on the PS4 and the One. They won't have it on the new systems.
They had to delay it even further because the jokes will be out of. Go on.
Well, yeah,
But,
Trey Parker and
it's
Matt
just like
Stone are
the-
actually writing The Division.
They're writing the division.
Yeah. Totally straight-laced.
Oh man.
So yeah, that's getting delayed. Anyone disappointed about it?
I'm not entirely disappointed. I mean, if you were going to only buy a new console and you haven't already, this drives into points. So you probably should wait till next year. Like if I was buying a console, I'm probably going to buy a PS4 next year because that's when some games are going to be out. But I mean, The Division and The Witcher 3 got delayed to 2015, and both those games are on PC. So not really. I mean, I'm bothered, but I'm not like, oh man, I bought this PS4 and there's no games on it. So if
I
you're
think
planning on doing that, wait.
I think it's almost to be expected with certain games that you see, even demoed last year at E3. You probably got the feeling that it's not going to be out anytime soon. Like Division's really ambitious. Witcher 3 is a huge RPG, so
Yeah.
I think some of these it's not a big surprise. And we'll have I mean, it's not like we don't have enough shooters coming out this year already.
Right.
And we even have an MMO shooter with Destiny coming out. So it's like that hole for The Division's not going to be something that's vacant. And then Dragon Age will be out this year, so there'll be an RPG on both consoles this year.
And especially, coming from Ubisoft's angle, they have a strong enough lineup for 2014. I don't think anybody really expected this or were surprised when they tried to claim that it's coming out this year with regards to Division. I think 2015 was kind of expected when it was shown off initially. It was a very early look at it. So yeah, that seems natural.
Yeah, fair enough. And the final big news that actually just happened today. YouTube has acquired Twitch as well as Justin TV and Hitbox.tv.
That has not been officially
No, they didn't
confirmed.
buy Hitbox.
It's
Hitbox TV is a
official.
separate
It's
company.
happening.
Hitbox TV is a separate company. It's a good alternative to Twitch. They're not bought by YouTube.
Oh, I thought they were getting thrown into this.
No,
Hitbox
Hitbox.
is a whole different thing.
It's a whole different thing, and that's like where a lot of people are jumping to. It's a kind of a newer.
Correction. You can
newer
find next week's episode on Hitbox.tv.
Yeah, it's a newer streaming service that a lot of people have been gradually moving towards. What happened was Twitch implemented this stupid delay where there's like a 60-second delay on Twitch. So like what we're saying now, people will see like a minute later. They did that, and then a lot of people started moving to Hitbox. And now with YouTube buying Twitch and that whole content ID thing, people are really getting scared, and more people are like, let's try out this Hitbox. And like, Hitbox is good. It's small, but they're starting to do stuff like the Counter-Strike Go championships are on
Right.
Hitbox now.
And I have to contest the whole content ID thing too, because I know that's it seems natural that would transition to Twitch, but also Twitch apparently chose YouTube over a couple of different companies like Microsoft, for this buyout, and obviously monetizing this game content is a huge part of Twitch's revenue. So why would they want to go with a company that would saddle them with something inhibiting that? It doesn't
Because Google-
logically make sense to me.
One, Google probably offered them $1 billion, and
Literally.
yeah, literally, they're like, here, we'll give you $1 billion.
Yeah, but it's not in the idea of what this is going to be a one-time lump sum rather than growth for the future.
Right. I mean, like, I also like going to the whole $1 billion. I feel like that's really low for Twitch. Honestly, I was kind of surprised at that number. It's like, really, that's it? $1 billion? I mean, consider like how big a company YouTube is and Google is. I mean, like $1 billion is nothing. I mean, how much do they buy like that one chat app like Facebook buy for? It's like
20 some odd billion.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, like, come on. Like, which ones are really like the bigger beast in this? You know, I mean, I guess maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I feel like Twitch is worth a little bit more than $1 billion.
It seems like an odd number, and I would expect that maybe just because it's a rumor that maybe that number is not solid, and they just kind of threw it out there. It's about $1 billion or something.
But, Google's a big company, like we mentioned. They're a really big company, so they own Twitch now. So if some company says, "Hey, my copyrighted stuff is on your streaming service, we're going to sue you," they're going to pretty quickly jump on that Content ID stuff.
Yeah.
Watch your favorite League of Legends player play the game with no audio.
Let's get bought out by a company that will completely destroy us. That makes sense.
No, I mean, it's not. The only people that this is really hurting are the people who monetize their streams, which are a lot smaller portion of the Twitch audience than it is YouTube. Not from just the overall user base, but percentage-wise of just the users themselves. It takes a lot more to be a paid Twitch streamer.
Right.
So for them to put that Content ID ban on people, it wouldn't be as big or as noticed as it would be with YouTube, since there are.
I think it will be because those, even though it's a small amount of people, like you said earlier, you have to have a lot of viewers and a lot of subscribers to do that. Meaning those people are pretty fucking important to get to that point. And if they go away, they're very vocal. And so if they go away, that could be a huge blow to Twitch.
All I can say to those people is they might want to pick up a guitar and learn how to play some music.
Yeah, exactly.
And compose their own music.
Yeah,
they're already scared because a couple of the really big Twitch streamers got wind of this news tonight while they're streaming. They're like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah,
that was basically their reaction.
I can't listen to music when I play my games. No one goes to a League of Legends like
you'd assume would be protected. You would assume, but music outside of the games, I don't see them protecting.
I don't know. I mean, like this argument is.
It's the express purpose of Twitch to have this, to do game streaming, which if it behaved exactly the same as YouTube, that would mean that streaming Let's Plays in particular would be flagged because that's blatantly just showing the content rather than going with the journalistic argument of, hey, this is for educational purposes.
Even some of the game audio and music is copyright striked as well, because it's owned by a separate person,
Yeah.
So
no, that's not the thing. It's not owned by someone else. This is the thing that some people I've seen a lot of comments tonight saying that YouTube only does the Content ID thing when they're contacted by the copyright owner. No, that's not what happened. What happened is they're copyright trolls, or these companies, and they just purchased. Yeah, they purchase these big blocks of content that they don't necessarily own, but they own like a piece of it, and because of that, they could do a Content ID claim on your video.
I own the hi-hat sound.
That's basically what it is. And they do a Content ID. I mean, I've seen live streams on Google get Content ID flagged and shut down because of a logo on a T-shirt. So like, I have this Batman logo on my shirt.
Keep that thing down.
Yeah, exactly. It's like DC Comics will shut us down, and I've seen that happen on YouTube, and it probably will happen with Twitch because Google is a big company, and they're not going to want to have that liability on their network.
So why
It
would they
just-
spend $1 billion on Twitch and then potentially, with it imploding, have it shut down soon after? Are they just trying to eliminate competition?
Yeah, it was a competition thing. They were threatened by how much Twitch was growing, and because there's actually a chart out there that shows like the percentage of internet use in the U.S. and Netflix is number 1, Google's number 2, number 3 is something else, and number 4 is Twitch. So they were actually kind of getting threatened by it, and they're probably just like, oh, we're just gonna buy it and kill it.
That's strengthening my point. Why are they worth only $1 billion if they're the fourth,
Because
most used?
they probably
Just-
figured they could get it for $1 billion, and that's a cheap way to kill a
God.
because it would be less money than they would spend to try to outmarket it or
Exactly.
improve their service. Spend $1 billion to destroy
I know why
Also, Twitch
Google did it.
accepted
I just
that
don't. I don't know why. I don't know why. Exactly. I don't know why Twitch would accept that offer if they know that.
Yeah,
I mean, for sure.
I really don't either. Unless, I mean, I guess there is the possibility that the guys running Twitch right now are not necessarily business types. They see even just $1 billion and they have money.
Okay.
They just came in with a suitcase full of money before he even opened it. He's all, we'll take the deal.
I mean, it might be that
Has Twitch.
Twitch's revenue service isn't actually as large as we think.
Yeah, that's very possible. I mean, they might not. I mean, a lot of this probably has to do with how much they're actually making off of ad revenue, and maybe it's not as much as we would assume since of the size, and maybe it's possible Google sees the potential of bringing in some more ad space.
So prepare for much more ads and very, very quiet Let's Plays on Twitch TV next coming months. But I think, I'm honestly, like, when it comes to, like, music, like, if you play Dota or you play League of Legends, I mean, it's the same song over and over again. No one wants to listen to that. And no one goes to those Twitch streams to listen to the new album, No one says, oh, I'm not going to buy the album because I heard it on Twitch.
I've heard it on League of
Literally
Legends.
zero people say that.
Like, this is
No one says,
completely conjecture right now what I'm saying, but imagine the possibility that if Google were to put them in a situation where they felt threatened that they were going to get the same lawsuits coming down on them for copyright protection, and then made this offer to them. You can either have your entire business have a leg chopped off, or don't worry about, we'll buy it off you. I'm again complete conjecture, but it seems strange that they took the money so quick and just kind of outed.
I don't know. That could be a possibility, but then, all right, so they squish Twitch and then another service pops up. I mean, what's the long-term goal here? Because there's going to be, a service as long as, they make it difficult to monetize these game streams and such. People are going to go to the next one that's offering what they want. So it's.
I don't think we can undervalue the importance of having Twitch already embedded into both Xbox One and PS4.
right.
I think that's an important thing that a lot of people are gonna see streaming synonymous with Twitch.
And so what? Ustream comes next for the same reason. I mean,
And
I
then
mean,
you have to
come on.
make a
I mean,
Ustream
a lot
app.
of those-
That's it.
A lot of those Playroom streams will not get away with what they get away with under Google's watchful
God,
eye.
no. Oh no, Freddy Krueger!
And YouTube is really smart with this. They actually, which in a lot of cases, they are very smart about their purchases. They won't do anything with it. They'll just leave it as it is. They'll keep pumping money into Twitch, make the service better, stronger, faster,
With a Google Plus login.
and just let it run its course.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jeremy.
I don't know. I mean, I honestly hope that nothing does happen because I've got comfortable using this service. But if it does go the way of what we've known to happen with some of these Google products, with like the synchronizing and the way they kind of control what people can have in their feed and still make money off of it, I think that's disheartening. It's too bad because it seemed like a lot of the press or the attention the games were getting, they found a new venue at Twitch. And not that streaming is going to go away in any way, but the people who created it it seems like they might be possibly being pushed out a little too soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that, let's take our next break. When we come back, we're going to do questions and answers. We're going to talk a little bit about what we can expect at E3. So stick with us, and we'll be right back with some more of the 1985 FM podcast.
Sweet.
As Brandon falls asleep.
What?
The lighting's
No,
really good tonight,
not at all.
Brandon. I like that. You got a new lighting setup here.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm on my different computer, so.
Looks fancy.
How many computers do you have?
You don't want to know.
Do you have more than one?
I have my MacBook, I have my Mac Mini, and I have my Windows deck.
Don't listen to him, kids. He's joking.
Yeah, that's the same I do. I have my MacBook, I have my iMac,
And
and
he
my
signed
Windows.
off. He's done.
He's-
You insulted him with that
He's
question.
like, let me just.
No, let me sign on to the other one and show you.
Now,
Why did he leave?
I don't know. You're just sick of it, man.
Okay.
I might have to go myself though.
I have to take off too.
Yeah, it's 2 a.m. over here, and I have work tomorrow later in the day. But,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right then, man. You gonna take off now?
Yeah, I think I commented on most of the stuff that was meaty, so I think the best part is over with. So.
The best is
All
yet to come.
We got some questions coming in. Come
All right
on.
then, man. Well, in that case, I'm gonna go take a break real quick. Happy birthday, man. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, man.
See you
All right,
next
guys.
week.
Have fun.
We're gonna mail the Ouya to you. It'll probably arrive later in the week.
I'm looking forward to it. You guys have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And Lawrence is gonna give you the shield to his Project Shield.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you
that's-
some
Plastic plate.
just a plastic
that's-
plate to it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'll use it to scoop ice cream.
That's
That's pretty much all it's used for, anyways.
That's
You
all
can see a
they
little
want
residue from
for.
that.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I had fun.
Good night.
Night.
All right, give me 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
No, I'll be right back.
Oh, I should probably re-invite Brandon. Just in
Try
case.
compiling those questions together.
I've already done that for what we got so far. Where is? There we go.
Well, I can't hear you, so I don't know what's going on. All right, I'm back.
Mm, 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 mm. All right. We actually have a small group of people watching on YouTube as well. Actually had a decent turnout. All right. I don't like the YouTube feed though. It's just focusing on it. Only stays on my face the whole time. It doesn't show anything. It just shows my face the whole time. Me looking at a computer screen. Not exactly what I was going for. I was gonna say, Jason and I might be going to E3.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, if I get this job, I might not, but if I don't, I'll be there.
All right. Fair enough. Well, I would say I hope to see you at E3, but I'd rather you have a job.
Yeah, I need this job real bad. Yeah, I got my pass. It's like that's why I have all these booth invites in my email box, and I haven't responded to any of them yet because I want to wait till Wednesday to see what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
And there's not many I want to go to. These are like Kensha Hall places. I'm like, no, I don't want to see your crappy little Korean free-to-play MMO.
Wow. Just write him back that, yeah. Like, no, screw you. Make him feel bad for the rest of the show. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, I mean, I assume we're gonna get in. I don't see why we wouldn't. The
All right.
Side are ridiculous.
I am back. I'm back.
Your book.
I'm back.
All right. Just got some of that. A little bit of that. Nothing from the.
All the questions that I've gathered are actually in the show notes in the very top.
Oh, they're in the show notes at the very top.
Yeah.
All right. Let me pull up that thing that has the show notes in them. All these devices. All right, everyone ready to get back? So we're just gonna do some E3 stuff. Bullshit about stupid. No particular order.
Okay. Whatever you guys want to do. I am down.
All right.
All right, we are back, and I am going to press record on this so I can actually have an audio version of it for the audio version. All right, now we're totally.
Excellent.
And now I'm going to take the camera off my face so you don't have to look at me anymore. And there we go.
Woo!
All right. All right, we're going to be answering some of your questions, and we're going to be starting off with I'm Render. When do you think Watch Dogs preload will be available for PS4? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. If preload comes to Watch Dogs, he really wants to know. That's I can only assume. I don't think preload is going to come to PS4.
Mm-mm.
Well, I know it's coming. It's probably going to be like a case-by-case basis up to the publisher if you want to allow it.
Yeah. I mean
Nobody yet has
specifically
done
with Watch
preload,
Dogs,
right?
Yeah,
What's
Nobody yet has done preload.
nobody's done preload on PS4. No.
Is there preload on Steam or no?
Preload, I'm
Probably.
sure it probably is preload on Steam, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think we're gonna see it for. We're not gonna see it for Watch Dogs. I
I
think
think-
that's pretty safe to assume.
I really?
I mean, it
I
would
would
go
I would-
today, so
I would hope so.
theoretically it could go preload, but it just hasn't happened yet, and I don't see any significant reason for
there's.
this to be the first game.
I think it needs
Entirely
to
possible,
be though,
What's
because I mean that game is huge. I mean, the sooner I can play it, the better. I mean, if people are doing it digitally only, I mean that's the problem of buying it digitally. In general, it's just like you have to wait like 5 hours until you can actually play the game. So I'm a huge fan of preloading the game.
No, I think it's a great idea. It seems like consoles specifically are kind of hesitant to adopt the preloading thing.
We have a guy in chat saying, C-Mount for Life
Oh,
says Watch Dogs will be the first game available for PS4 preload. So
Okay.
if they're going to preload it, then I would probably say maybe sometime this week because it did just go gold. So they update PSN on Tuesdays usually, Grace Chen time. So maybe tomorrow. I'm sorry, it's not Monday. It's so used to being it on Monday.
Yeah.
Maybe Tuesday or Wednesday.
Right on. Nice.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. If they're actually going to do it, then that's awesome. I think it needs something that needs to happen. I just didn't think Watch Dogs would be the first game.
Watch
Okay,
Dogs,
so
Project
But
Hotel.
it-
I was wondering if it's going to be on Steam. It will be on Steam. I don't know about Origin. It's an Ubisoft game, so it'll be on Steam.
Oh.
Absolutely.
coming from a spokesman at Sony, the next PS4 update 1.7 will enable pre-ordered content on the PS4,
Yeah.
but they have not announced any of the titles that will support that feature yet.
Well,
Did,
that 1.7 came out was it last week or week before? So it's already up there. So if you updated your PS4, you already have the ability to preload. But
Yeah.
if Watch Dogs really is the first one to do it, it'll be this week sometime.
Yeah. Wait, did they pre-order? Did they preload Assassin's Creed 4? Or was that wasn't the case?
No, Assassin's Creed
No.
4 is a launch title.
Yeah.
And I didn't have preload. Okay.
There's no way to
Right.
preload it because
Yeah,
it came
you
out
just
today.
loaded it.
No, that's
That's
true.
kidding.
That's true.
All that
It came included onto your system as soon as you got it.
More information.
Alright.
Sony later tweeted that you can pre-order Watch Dogs from the PSN store, and then you will be able to preload the game once that 1.7 update is live. That was also last week before we had the
So yeah,
after we went live.
whenever
Couple
Great 10 decides to update the PS Store on Tuesday, in theory, Watch Dogs will be able to preload then.
PS4 owners are at his mercy. All right.
Her mercy. Grace.
Mercy. Sorry.
And regular question asker Hussein Ansal asks, "What are your thoughts on Warframe being the second most downloaded free item on PS4 behind Netflix?"
Ooh,
It's an awesome game.
PS4. Yeah, I think it's kind of a testament that there's so much to do in that game. So I mean, if you're just bought a $400 console and you're not sure what to play, the free game that allows you to do a bunch.
hate to
probably
be
the-
cynical, but I think it's probably the testament to like just that there being a lot of games and the fact that it's free as well. Yeah.
Well, no, that game has a lot of content that you can play for free. I mean, you don't really have to spend any money to play it. It's a lot of fun. It's a multiplayer game, co-op even, and it was great on the PC. And there's great word of mouth about it. It's like, hey, you got to play Warframe. It's free. Download it. And it's like it's a testament to the game because the game's a lot of good. Blacklight Retribution's free. Not many people playing that, but a lot of people playing Warframe because it looks great. It's fun to play. As for the other question, MMOs, yeah, there's gonna be Elder Scrolls Online, which you shouldn't play, but then there'll be PlanetSide 2. Will be out on the PS4. It's gonna be playable at E3. They've actually released the first off-screen image of it this week. They're still working on it a little bit, but that will probably be out by the end of the summer, and that'll be a free-to-play MMO, which is it's great on the PC. Then there's going to be like the Sony Zombie game. There'll be EQ Next eventually. So yeah, there'll be a lot of free-to-play RPGs on the system, and both systems will get RPGs. It's just which ones are going to be any good. Like I said, Elder Scrolls Online, no. Avoid that. And that was actually just delayed quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Chris by Demand says, "What exclusives do you guys think Sony will show?" Nice and free.
God of 4.
I don't know if we might see God of War 4, even though there was stuff that happened at Sony Santa Monica. We'll see The Order. There'll be some
Uncharted.
new stuff that's not announced.
Uncharted,
Project-
really?
We'll probably see Uncharted. We'll probably see a trailer for Uncharted. It's not going to be out this year, but
Probably a cutscene.
no,
something-
maybe it'll be
something.
in game. It'll be like
Just a voiceover again.
no, we'll see some
The
in game.
trailer one more time.
Just a trailer. That Project Beast will probably
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah, I think it's plausible.
That's extremely plausible. That's the new Souls game, and then
I'm
they'll
hoping for a remake of Jumping Jack Flash.
Jumping Flash
Jumping Flash, yeah, Jumping Flash.
for Morpheus. That'll be a Morpheus pack-in.
Yeah, I love it. Oh yeah, that would be a great Morpheus pack-in.
I think you'll also maybe see Last Guardian.
I think so.
On PS4, not PS3.
Yeah.
And then there'll probably be some, they'll have Drive Club, of course, and
Yeah.
there'll be stuff there that we don't know about yet. Sony has, 14 studios and worldwide studios. Sony Bend's game will probably be there. The new Gorilla game will probably be there. Whatever Media Molecule's been working on will be there. A lot of these first-party studios that weren't there at launch, they'll have their games at E3.
Yeah.
I think
Just
it's tougher
a couple-
to guess with Sony. With Sony, I think it's just tougher to guess.
They're more prone to release some new IPs or at least announce them. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on.
I'm hoping to be shocked.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, that's all I'm asking for. Just one game that completely makes me go, I did not see that coming.
Kind of like Watch Dogs a couple years back. I mean, remember when that game was just shown and everyone on Twitter was just like, "What is this?" I wasn't even watching it, and then all of a sudden this amazing game come up. Did anyone catch the name of it? What the fuck is this? This is great. So hoping for one with those moments again.
Now, on the other side with Microsoft, we'll probably, same thing, we'll see new IPs. There's a studio you may hear the name of there, possibly they'll name them, called LXP. It's a Microsoft first-party studio. They have a really awesome logo. They may have a first-party exclusive at E3 on stage. Their logo's awesome. It's like an astronaut, and the X in the logo is the straps from his backpack. So the astronaut's in the middle. It says L, X, and then P. It's a cool logo, and they're a first-party Microsoft studio. I'm working
trying to look it up right now.
Your game developers based on their logos.
What was that studio called again?
LXP.
LXP. Okay. Let me look this up real quick.
I don't think they'll probably be showing as
Oh,
many.
it's a really good logo. That is a good logo.
Yeah, Leap Experience Pioneers.
Looks like something that'd be stenciled and be spray painted on the side of the freeway and on the 405.
It's a Banksy work.
Yeah, right. It's a
Life
Banksy.
says he wants to see a Siphon Filter reboot.
Well, Sony Ben's working on something. I don't know if it would be Siphon Filter, but yeah, that would be cool. One thing Sony does, not so much with Uncharted. Well, they kind of did with Uncharted. They gave it to Sony Ben for the PSP, the PS Vita. But what do you call it? Sly Cooper went to another developer, and then when they did it, same thing with Crash and everything. The main studio does the game, and then a lot of times in the next generation, they do something new, and then their old IP goes to another developer. So it could be possible that they could be doing another Siphon Filter, and then that is being done by someone other than Sony Bend. So who knows? We might see something like that.
Nice.
How about Fear Effect?
Oh yeah, Fear Effect. Next gen graphics.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a cool game. Hussein and Saul also asked thoughts on Sony's rumored Project Beast. We just kind of talked about it a second ago.
It's going to be awesome. If you wanted a next gen, Dark Souls 2. There you go.
Guns, lots of guns.
Demon Souls.
This is Dark Souls is basically Demon Souls. So
no, it isn't.
Stop it.
Very different.
Similarly enough and equally frustrating.
It's similar in the way that kind of like the Call of Duties are similar, as far as different studios goes. So some studios are better than others.
So it's exactly the same.
No.
He calls bullshit. They're exactly the same.
But the thing is, this one is actually exclusive because it's Japan studio Sony working with From Software, just like Demon Souls. So it would be only on PS4.
Right.
And what's interesting about this is that a lot of the people who worked on Dark Souls 2, they aren't the people who carried over from Dark Souls 1, so those main developers kind of just backed off. So everyone thought they just left and probably do a different project, and so this may be that project. So yeah, really exciting stuff.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's see here. Is it time for Nintendo to go third party?
No. We've kind of addressed this in the past.
Yeah.
The reason why I said, in the quick way, the reason why Sega went third party is because Sega was riddled with debt. They had mountains and mountains of debt. They had no money, and there was too much infighting between Sega of America and Sega Japan. There's infighting between Nintendo of America and Nintendo Japan in that Nintendo Japan calls all the shots, but Nintendo has a $6 billion war chest full of cash. So they're in absolutely no danger of going third party at all. They still have a little system called the 3DS that spits money out in their face. So
Yeah.
they're going to be around for a while.
Disgusting, but it does.
Okay.
So
All right. And Project Natal fan says, I have a question. Excellent. When will we get the E3 announcements this week? More stuff is coming.
Well, they did do the Judges' Day last week. I don't know if we'll get any big announcements this week. They are going to start doing the press previews for E3. The way they do it is like most of the big things for E3, all the press sees before the show to give them time to write everything up. They keep some stuff back, but there might be some things coming up, but I don't think there's going to be any really huge earth-shattering announcements. Like he asked in chat, like Forza Horizon 2. If that is Forza Deep South, that may be something they'll save for the E3 conference. That'd be a big enough game for them to save for the conference and not spill the beans before the show.
Right.
There is another question in chat. This guy's name. You guys see it? The green name?
Quick stains?
He wants to know
I'll say it. I ain't scared.
He wants to know if we're going to talk about Arthur Guy's meltdown.
All right. Wait, really quickly. Thanks. That's it for the 1985 FM podcast this week. Join us again next week as we'll have another episode every Monday at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, only on Twitch. And then you can find the audio version on the official site at 1985fm.com. Thanks again, everyone, for Jeremy Conrad, Lawrence Lawson, and Brendan O'Connell, and Nathan Mayer, who's already left. Thanks again, guys. See you next week. All right, audio version's done. Now, please, continue.
Okay, so the audio version's done. Lawrence and Brendan, are you guys familiar with this meltdown?
No, I'm not.
I didn't see it, no.
Okay, so he was on Arthur Guys of Polygon fame, and Adam Sessler were on the Rebel FM podcast this past weekend. And Arthur Guys has been getting a lot of... well, apparently Sessler had some crazy stuff saying in there too, but Guys went off the deep end on this, saying, and here's a quote from the transcription, saying, Sony has a message that people want to get behind and fucking no games. Yes, all the indies in the world are releasing on that system, but it's starting to look like Steam that there's a bunch of fucking junk being announced for the PS4 every day. And the host's like, I don't see junk every day. And he's like, and Guy says, I get the press releases still. There is garbage announced for that system every day. And people are kind of like looking at that like, wait a second, isn't he supposed to be working for like a neutral, unbiased site?
Right. Yeah, I think it was a little dramatic considering he made an argument that Microsoft was in a different position, but I'd argue against that. I think they're pretty much in the same situation right now. We've had a conversation about the whole podcast talking about how we're not really sure what's coming from these studios, that this year is going to be kind of slow, and to say one Sony's releasing garbage while Microsoft's releasing nothing but diamonds, it's kind of a strange, because that was the impression I got while I was listening to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he started. That's basically what he said. He's like, because he's saying that Sony has no games, and then he starts talking about Microsoft, saying, he says, oh, there's stuff that's not announced yet. There's Sunset Overdrive, Quantum Break, this Fable game. There's that and a bunch of other stuff that they're rumored to be working on for this year and next year. And the host is like, right, so Microsoft doesn't have anything more at the moment. And then he just fights back against that, saying, no, because we just talked about 3 or 4 games. Meanwhile, Sony has The Order. And there's 4 or 5 exclusives for Microsoft, 2 for Sony. It's like, no, they're both in about the same boat. And it's like, E3's coming up in a couple weeks. They do not know what they're showing at the press conference.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. I think he's from a position where I don't know the guy personally, but it seems like he has a relationship with Microsoft where he would be privy to some knowledge that other outlets might not necessarily have. So he knows titles that are coming out, whereas he might not necessarily have that relationship with Sony. But I assure you, Sony isn't just coming to E3 with The Order.
Yeah, they're gonna come out on the stage, and they're gonna come out on the stage and like throw up their arms like, "We got nothing," and then that's gonna be the press conference.
Watch
we got nothing
from YouTube for The Order.
Sorry, guys, we goofed.
So yeah, I think
Playing for it.
yeah, especially to be in a position where he's supposed to be unbiased and he's kind of anything but that. I can't really speak to Adam Sessler because I didn't really necessarily hear anything that he said inflammatory, but
No, it wasn't. His stuff wasn't that crazy. He actually he brought up like Drive Club and was mentioning other games and stuff. He was like kind of like in between this craziness that was going on, and Sessler's wasn't too out of the ordinary.
yeah, his voice was definitely the most pragmatic of the group. But yeah, the guy's thing, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe he didn't have anything to eat for lunch. I don't know.
Guy in chat, Kevin Leave says, "Why do people think Sony has no games even with their proven track record? Microsoft abandoned the 360 years ago with exclusives." And that is kind of true, because if you look at the last couple years of the 360, it was mostly Kinect stuff. You know, I mean, in terms of big exclusives, first party. And Sony had a lot of stuff, and that is kind of true. It's just that at launch, it's like there's like this school of thought among fanboys where that indies aren't real games for some reason. So like you could have 40 indie games in a week, but none of them count as a game.
I hate that argument. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a silly thing, and I agree. Microsoft does have the track record. You saw it with Xbox and 360. That once they move on to their next project, the previous one pretty much gets dumped like to the ground. Like there's not a lot of titles coming on after that, and I mean obviously Sony trickles out a lot of good titles, not as much as they would in the heyday, but they still have titles coming to the systems for people who own them.
Yeah.
True.
I'd say. Do we have any other questions here?
Any other questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
No, I don't think
Give
so.
him a minute. Remember the delay.
Yeah. Remember,
Right, we do have a
right.
delay. Yeah, that's true.
that wonderful Twitch delay.
Oh man, we need like Twitch delay like theme music while we wait for this. Like,
Yeah, right.
but we get to compose ourselves.
Boop, boop, boop.
Sorry, we own the rights to that that part of that melody. So sorry.
Yeah,
We'll
it's gonna be
content
done.
ID it ourselves.
We're only gonna be able to sing that about 2 more times. Yeah.
You see that mic you're using, Randy? We can't let you use that because it's copyright, infringement.
I see you have a key sword in the back of your room. I'm gonna need you to get rid of that. That's actually copyrighted by Disney.
Oh God damn it!
Get rid of that. Sorry.
Fucking Disney, God damn it! You raising your prices. Whatever. I'm still gonna pay for it. I'm not gonna be happy about it
Did you hear why they did that?
because it's overcrowded.
Yeah, it was specifically, and
That's why they did it.
I've been saying to
That's
do.
why-
My friends and I have been saying for them to do this for 2 years. The Sundays when those SoCal APs are not blacked out, they're a nightmare. They are absolutely packed because the SoCal, at least a couple years ago, it was $8 a monthly payment.
Yeah.
So people buy the super cheap APs, flood the park on Sundays, and it's a nightmare. So they stopped selling the SoCal AP today. They also got rid of the blackout date tickets. So if you have an AP that's blacked out, you have to buy a full price ticket to get in. They're doing it to stop the crowds, and they even said that they will start selling them when renewals get down to an acceptable level. But if crowds keep up, they may even start suspending the sales of all APs until renewals trickle down.
Are you still able to
do
get a
this for
premium
years.
pass with no blackouts?
Yeah, the premium has no blackout. The one that's $6.99.
Okay, because I always get that anyways.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I get. I just do the monthly payment. It's $50 a month, and
pretty much.
yeah, it's you get no blackout dates and free parking. So
Or if you pay a little bit more up front, it ends up being like 20, like I was doing. I mean.
yeah, you could do like you could like pay more up front, or you could pay for a park hopper ticket that day, and then it's a lower monthly payment. Yeah, and you can pay it off at any time. But that's the way to do it. I would not get a pass there that has blackout dates because
No.
the deluxe has like the holidays, a lot of holidays blacked out, and a lot of summer Saturdays blacked out, and that's when I go. So I'm not so upset about them raising the price because even at $6.99, it's still only $50 a month for the monthly payment.
I mean, I'm still, I'm always gonna be a little bit upset because I mean, I was able to pay less earlier,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, It is what it is, and I mean the parking itself is worth its weight in gold. So I don't see why
Yeah, because they raised that $1. It was 16 and went up to 17 today.
Yeah. And like,
But the people who are upset about it, I'm like, come on, you bought the cheapest
Peasants.
lowest AP, and yeah, you can buy. They still have the SoCal Select, which is never available on weekends. You can only go during the week. You can buy that if you want to be super cheap, but come on, just buy a real pass, not the $8 a month one.
Disney Pass classism at its finest.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
and also with those
I
cheap.
feel like I'm missing out on a club.
No, and
are.
with those cheap APs, you kind of started to get some of the more Six Flags crowd in Disneyland, if you know what I'm saying. I mean,
Oh god.
you know how like Six Flags needs metal detectors? I mean,
Oh god.
they kept those cheap APs. They're going to need them at Disneyland because I've seen people put knives in the Matterhorn line. And I'm like, yeah, he has an $8 a month AP.
Oh
Wow.
god.
I saw someone get stabbed on Dumbo.
Jesus.
He was a Knott's Berry Farm guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Hey, Knott's is a good deal. Knott's usually, like the first half of the year, they do their APs for like $50, $60 for the whole year. But that's worth it for Knott's because there's not that much to do there.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's really. I mean, you can go there if you're like really happy and you want to be depressed. Go to Knott's Berry Farm. That's the
No,
best place to do it.
I like Silver Bullet at Knott's, but I won't ride the Grizzly because that makes your spleen fly out when you ride the Grizzly.
Ooh, that
thing
sounds
is,
like fun.
oh, that's
Yeah.
so rickety. It's like you're on that ride and it's like, and your spleen's flying everywhere.
Like, you like see splinters. You can get splinters actually from riding the ride.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Grizzly is not a fun ride to ride, but I like Silver Bullet. Silver Bullet's fine. I mean, and you don't want to ride the accelerator or else your foot gets slashed when the belt breaks.
I
That's
like the
happened
chicken.
twice on that
Big fan of the
ride.
chicken. I like the boysenberry pie.
Oh, the boysenberry pie is awesome.
Yeah.
You
Amazing.
get boysenberry turnovers and the chicken's great. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
But-
probably the best thing about Knott's.
But you don't need a pass to
Food.
get those. You can just go to the bakery and
Pretty
Mama has
much.
chicken place
Yeah, you
without
don't
a
even need a
pass.
ticket for that.
Nope.
But yeah, the
I think-
Disney
I
stuff,
think for that-
I was so happy. And you know what? I might. My friends are doing the 24-hour thing again on Friday, and I'm 50-50 going with them again. We did it
you're
last
gonna
year.
do the 24-hour thing?
We did it last year. We stayed up all 24 hours. We got there we actually got there earlier than 6, and we left
Yeah.
right at 6, and we did not sleep at all the whole night. But this time, it's like since we did it, my friend and I, we did the 24 hours. We don't care if we fall asleep this time, and we might actually happen because in the Captain EO theater, they're going to be running all the Marvel movies all night. So
Right.
we
Oh,
go in
man,
there
that's
when Iron Man's
beautiful.
on and conk
That's
out.
so cool. That's awesome. That's really cool.
But the food this year's not as good. Last year they had steak and eggs at Carnation Cafe, which was awesome. They're not having that this year. The food, like, they have special food for the 24-hour party, and this year it's not. The offerings aren't quite as interesting as last year, but it's fun. And the park empties out around 2 or 3 in the morning, so
Right.
Yeah.
you could just go walk on Space Mountain at 3 in the morning like a zombie.
I think we tried to go last year, but we got there so late that it was already at capacity, and they weren't letting anyone in until later.
It was packed at 6 in the morning when I went last year. It was like the whole
Really?
Esplanade was completely full of people. And we
Like,
didn't leave the
last
park
thing
at all.
I
We
think
did not
of
leave.
going to Disneyland at 6 in the morning. I'm thinking of like at 4 in the morning. People were like, "I'm gonna wake up and go to Disneyland at 6 in the morning."
Oh yeah, they're up 48 hours a day just so they can get there early enough.
Yeah. It's got
Yeah, there was a line to get in there, and like I said, most of those people left around 2 or 3. But
Yeah.
you gotta, it was like it was weird because we're walking around and it's dawn, and I remember walking by the Matterhorn, and it was dawn, and there's the Matterhorn. It's weird because the sun was coming up back of the
Yeah.
Matterhorn, and we're walking around, and it's like we were so tired. It was like 5:45, and we're in Fantasyland. We're like, okay, let's go on Peter Pan. We go on Peter Pan. We get off Peter Pan, and it's literally, maybe 10 minutes to 6. I'm like, okay, let's walk to the front gate. My friend's like, no, we're going to stay in here till 6 in the morning, and they kick us out. So we went on Dumbo, and by the time we were off Dumbo, it was 6 a.m., and they're like ushering everyone out. It was like we actually made it all 24 hours.
You're
Closed
living
down
the life,
Disneyland.
living the dream. Living the dream,
I'm
man.
actually going tomorrow. I'm excited.
Nice.
I've been for a while. So.
You got to go on
I-
Big Thunder. The new Big Thunder is really cool.
Yeah, that's what I want to check out. That's
Yeah.
The only
It's
thing that changed since last time.
The new Big Thunder is great, and then
Yeah, it
they have
is.
Captain America. You could go meet Captain America in Inventions now.
And Thor.
Captain
You
America.
can meet Captain America.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Oh, and you
I
can
met
go into
Thor.
Inventions. You can go in Inventions and see X Bones that have not been updated since launch.
What? Sweet.
Yeah,
that's
they
real
still
fun.
have the ugly sharpening filter and everything.
Oh, I totally want
They have not been updated since launch.
Beautiful. They're like, who cares? We're not going to do it.
It's like whatever.
Seems like a big
Microsoft
deal
paid
when
us
we
to
first put
have
those
these
in.
here.
Did we get any questions?
No, we did not.
They're
Okay.
all leaving. Like, what's this Disneyland place?
Yeah, as soon as we started talking about Disneyland, I think everyone was pretty much like, okay, fuck this.
That was hilarious when the news came out. I'm like, yes, they killed the SoCal.
Oh God.
Well, yeah, I mean, I already pay so much anyways. I've never bought a SoCal, so.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
me
either.
neither.
Like, it's not worth it, really. I mean,
I thought it affected me because we do get a discount, right, with the annual premium pass, right?
when you renew it, you get like you get $20 off or $40 off, something like that.
That's not even.
But you don't get anything for being California resident?
I thought you
No.
did. I could have sworn you did though.
No. The only California resident discounts they had is that the SoCal was only available to people in Southern California
Yeah.
and then the monthly payments were only available if you lived in Southern California, but then they opened it up to everyone. in
Right,
California.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
The monthly payments were
Okay.
originally just SoCal, but now that they're like people up in the Bay Area are like, hey, we have APs. Can we do monthly payments? And they're like, I guess so.
Yeah,
And that's when it started.
that's when it started.
Yeah, that really is when it started. All right, guys, that's it for me.
Yep.
All
I'll see you
right.
guys next
All right, guys,
week.
thanks again, guys. Have a good week.
Good night.
Night.
Good show.
Later. All right, we did it. Dear God, we did it. If you're still watching the show, what's up? We're still live. I'm going to go eat a burrito.